Oh, look at that. We're live.
Yeah, hey, we're live.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? So,
I'm
welcome
good.
everybody to the Unfuck Your Stuck podcast. My name is Ayana Freedom, and I'm going to have my guests introduce themselves and say a little bit about who you are, and then we're going to get grounded, and then we're going to have a really fun conversation.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm Ciara
Of
Gogan. I
course.
use she, her pronoun series. I am a, who am I? Who do I want to introduce myself? I guess I'm a inclusion DEI practitioner by trade.
Yep.
Um, by my person, I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community. I'm an immigrant. I'm a theater lover. I'm a foodie. I like my rest. I
Mm.
like my soft mornings. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, stuff will come out. We'll see what happens. I don't
We'll
know.
see what happens. That's a good start, right?
Yep.
We'll unfold as we go. But let's just get ourselves centered. So, as everyone knows, I'm big on breath and centering the body before we can actually have conversation because otherwise my body's not listening, your body's not listening, and the community's not listening. So, we're just gonna, if it's okay, close your eyes. If not, just find a gaze on the floor so that you can reduce the stimulus from the eyes. And then just start to notice the breath. We don't have to do anything crazy. Just start to notice. Drop the shoulders, drop the jaw. And just allow the body to be present and allow for whatever wants to come through this conversation and energy together. Give it permission to just show up. And then maybe locate the heart center and what we might be carrying on the heart that might come up either in the conversation or what the heart's been holding. And maybe just allow it to expand and to soften. Allow the body to just drop into this moment. And then when you're ready, take one final deep, beautiful, big breath in together. Inhale. And exhale. Nice. And you can open your eyes and maybe shake the shoulders, shake the head, whatever you want to do. Woo! Sometimes I do that craziness. All right, so we're centered there. And I just like to honor the land that we're on, and also just orient us into just our pronouns, which you've already done. Um, so my pronouns, I go by she, her, we, and I always say the we because I am not separate from anyone else in
Mm,
that it's not just my work, it's actually the heart of who I am is that I truly believe that my identity is with other people and that I can't coexist without other people. So yeah, I made it a part of my identity because it helps me to keep going
I love
with
that. That's
community.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm on the herring pond, Wampanoag land, and I'm in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And where are you?
I am in Rockland, Massachusetts, which is part of Plymouth County. So I am also Wampanoag and I think Nauset as well, based on,
Okay, cool.
yeah, my understanding. Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
So also, I want to just talk about first, how do we know each other?
How do we know each other? We know each other from Rock Voices, from our singing lives,
Our
right?
singing lives.
Although I found out yesterday, I was at an event, a Wednesday night rather, and I found out we were both at the same event last year, which was the Soul Sisterhood Summit that
We were?
Christina put on. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't. You were presenting. I think you were speaking at lunch, and I missed all the lunch stuff because I was at the some trying to do something else. But yeah, so I was there with my wife.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so
I
funny.
know, right?
Oh,
I
okay.
feel
So
like people just we're circling each other when we're supposed to meet, and eventually we get together. But yeah, so we're both in Rock Voices, a non religious based choir. I have to say that because I needed somewhere to sing, but I didn't want it to be in a church setting.
I know
Um,
everyone's always like, is that like a church choir?
nope, nope. So yeah, so
Yeah, yeah.
that's how you were in Rock Voices Cape Cod, right?
Yeah, I was in Rock Voices Cape Cod, and then I just moved to Plymouth in November, and so then I joined Rock Voices in Weymouth, and that's
Yeah,
how we met. And I'm just so glad that you like reached out.
yeah, me too.
That's so
I
so
know,
wonderful.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I want to know a little bit about your work. I know some.
yeah.
I know some from just reading, and then some from just the lunch we had.
Hmm.
But I know you also had some other like career shifts and changes, and I would love to know just like why DEI or why that space that you feel so important in. And what I love about this conversation with you is that we get to talk about, and we did a podcast together, so we're super comfortable in this, but I always bring in race in terms of like, it's so incredible to have a conversation with somebody that identifies with the LGBTQ plus community, but also is white, also identifies as having privilege, but also immigrant. Like, so
Yeah,
cool. The whole
right.
thing, the intersectionality is just beautiful. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So my grew up in Ireland, which is where I immigrated here in it's like 32 years ago this year, I think 31 or 32. It's been a long time. I've been longer here than I was there. Excuse me. And so my background was in technology. I worked in technology for like a really long time. And then I don't know, probably maybe about 10 years ago now. I don't know, I got to that sort of is that all there is point, right? Because
yeah.
I was just doing like regular, like I was just doing work, like I was doing technology work, but it wasn't meaningful from the impactful perspective, right? It was obviously was meaningful for the organizations I was working for, and it had value, but it wasn't meaningful in the grander scheme of things, sort of thing. And so I wanted to do something different. But I didn't know what that was, and I've always wanted to help, like, but I never didn't want to be in the medical field for a variety of different reasons.
Yeah.
So I actually got certified as a coach, and I was
Oh.
doing coaching for a while, and then that led me to working with groups of people, primarily
Okay.
groups of women. And then I was like, but hang on, there's a whole bunch of other groups of people who need uplifting support, voice, whatever you want to call it. And I'm not trying to be like, white savior coming in on a horse and like fix and
Oh,
save
I don't
everybody.
experience you like that at all.
Right. No, and I appreciate that. But I mean, people don't know me, right? So I think
Yeah.
for me, it's really about uplifting the voices and experiences of those of us that are marginalized. And I include myself in marginalized, but obviously, like you said, I have
Sure.
privilege too.
Yeah.
So I think that, obviously there's balance there. I think most people have at least a little bit of privilege in some area.
Yes,
Not everybody,
absolutely.
obviously, right? But we all have some.
Hmm.
I shouldn't say all. I think a lot of us have some. Some obviously have way more than others.
Right, sure.
And depending on the circumstances and where we are and the experiences that we're having. So anyway, that whole path led me to like really understanding and realizing I wasn't sort of aware of this field, so to speak, of DEI
Mm-hmm.
until that time. And then I really started to think about like, how can I be a part of that? And so I was working at an organization in the telecom space, which is the space that I was in. It was a financial services organization, but I was a manager of telecom there. And they started talking about starting like a DEI committee or a DNI committee at the time. And I'm like, oh my God, like raise my hand, like, please, like, let me be part of this. Like, this is what I want to do. Cause I had been talking to them about maybe trying to do, some coaching for people or, helping people within the organization. Anyway, so I ended up helping them start their program. And then ultimately, went on to work in a couple of different organizations as their lead or head of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And really kind of building some of those programs from the ground up in organizations,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, which I think is really important. But there was also times within that where like things just ground to a halt because we were having uncomfortable conversations, right? And I think, part
Yeah.
of, I think what we, probably will will end up talking about is that, right? It's like we
Right.
have to be able to talk about hard things. Like one of the questions I asked you on my podcast, which I haven't aired yet, I haven't posted yet, but
Yeah.
was, what quietly breaks you? And it was like, oh, and then I immediately said, like, I shouldn't ask this question at the end of the thing. And then I'm like, I was thinking about that for my next guest, and I was like, no, because it's a hard conversation, but we have to be able to
Sure.
talk about hard things, because nothing's
Yeah.
ever going to change if we're all just like cozy and comfy all the time.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like white people love cozy and comfy.
We do. We do.
Like that is like when I think about white people, that is like the image I get.
Yeah. And like seriously, like I'm right there. Like I do not like confrontation. I don't know if it's a white thing, if it's a Libra thing, if it's I don't know what it is, if it's an Irish thing. I don't know. I don't like it, but it's like
an Irish thing.
it could be like all the above, right? But
right.
but I think we have to be able to have hard conversations. We have to be like, it's such a cliched saying, but like, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like we have to be able to do that, because if we all just stay cozy and comfortable, we end up where we are, which is we're in a shitstorm. Mm-hmm. And B, nothing's going to change. Like if we're just like, oh, we just accept things as they are. We're like, oh yeah, it's whatever. It'll get better. How? Right. Nothing's going to change unless people actually rise up and change it. So
right, exactly. Yeah. How have you had experiences doing this work where it's been super challenging, or like people of color challenge you, or white people challenge you, or they're like, what you're saying isn't true? Because I do some of this work too, and I've had a few times where not necessarily people of color challenge me, or they may not like the language I use and prefer a different language. It's all but or white people will say, what happened to me the other day, I was doing it, something on Juneteenth, and I was like, what they didn't think capitalism could exist, or racism didn't exist without capitalism. And so I was like, ooh.
Okay.
We dove into that, what ended up being great, but like it was quite a moment for 40 people in the room, and they were all like eyes wide, like, what's she gonna do? It's funny. But I'd be curious to see if like what's your experience there?
So what's funny, the first thing that popped into my mind when you asked me that was when I was interviewing for a job. It was actually my first, like, just me as head of DEI, like my first full-time DEI role after, when I told you about before at the other company. And one of the people that was interviewing me was a Black woman. And she said to me, like, she said, how are you as a white woman going to talk to me about racism or the Black experience? And I said, I'm not. Like, I'm not. How would I do? I can't. I wouldn't do that. If that was where the conversation, if that was a conversation that we were needing to have, I would just bring in an outside resource. Like, I'm not going to try and represent everybody. I can't. And no practitioner should tell you that they can. And she was like, that's the reason I got the job, honestly, because she like fought for me because of that answer, because other people, she asked the same question of everybody, and other people, answered differently. And I think that, and she and I are friends now. Well, that was one of the reasons I got that job, was because I just answered honestly, like, I can't. And nobody should try to, again, represent everything. So that was, I mean, again, it was not a challenge necessarily, but it was kind of, it was like, hey, like, who are you to do this work almost? You know what I mean?
Who the fuck are you coming in telling me how to like do my job?
Right. And I'm like, I'm not, I can't. That's not right. Absolutely. And rightly so, that she should ask that question.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, but there were other situations that happened, like, at that particular organization, after Roe v. Wade was overturned, we had a kind of a listening session at the organization with women from the company, just sharing their experiences. And it was an incredibly powerful, really powerful conversation. But it made some people very uncomfortable. Straight white men. And they basically shut me down after that. They were basically, I was literally told to sit on my hands by my boss, who I love my boss, right? He was trying to protect me. He's like, you just need to sit on your hands for a while until this kind of blows over. But I'm like, I didn't get into this work to sit on my hands. Like, it's
Right.
uncomfortable work. I didn't get in this work to be comfortable. I got into this work to make a difference,
Mm-hmm.
and try to
Mm-hmm.
right some wrongs, try to fix some systems.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved on, but it was like, it was very telling.
Yeah.
It didn't stop me from obviously wanting to do the things, and it didn't stop me from doing what needed to be done, the next place I went, but
Right.
it did just grind things to a halt there, which was interesting because somebody had predicted that, but I'm like, it shouldn't. And you know what? We should have been able to move through it, but we didn't. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the danger of organizations and systems. They're
Yeah.
they're flooded with capitalism, patriarchy, xenophobia, all,
Right.
racism, all of it.
Yeah.
And it's held on tight to not support.
Right.
You
Because I
know,
think when you challenge people, it makes them look at themselves.
yes.
And they don't like it. I
Yes.
mean, and like people will say, I didn't own slaves. I wasn't around when that happened.
Oh
And it's,
God, yeah,
I
that
mean,
one.
right. Yeah, you get that, right? So
I get that on Juneteenth all the time because I'm always like, reparations, bitches. And everyone's like, I
right.
didn't do anything for slavery. I'm not paying you anything. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
I know, but hello, you benefited from all of the things, and here
And
you
there's
are,
that.
and there's still like this like ridiculous generational wealth gap. I mean,
Oh my
Massachusetts is one of the worst.
God.
Like, it's how, I mean, I don't even know what the
One
numbers are
of the
now.
worst. Oh my
It's
God. We didn't even have this on our radar to talk about today, but I was
no.
just thinking about that because I'm starting a behavioral health program with my nonprofit and
Hmm.
just hired two people of color. And I just was like in awe. And then I was like, God, how do I pay them more than anybody else? Like
Yeah.
than any white practitioner is getting paid because
Right.
what they're giving us is gold.
Yeah.
It's gold. Like, and I'm just like, with the wealth gap, like I'm just like it's fundraising like a mad person because now we have these two beautiful people and me, and I'm just like the position we're in to just make some great impact, but these people
Yeah.
got to get paid because they're
Yeah.
dealing with trauma on top of their own, and then now
Hmm.
they're giving you right anyway. That's a side note, but yeah, I
Right.
was I was up all night trying to be like, how do I fix the wealth gap because these
Yeah.
two people like
Right. It's horrendous, and
yeah.
it's like, I don't know if you have any numbers off the top of your head. It's staggering.
It's staggering.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't off the top of my head. I
Yeah,
used to.
no, I did, but they were from like several years ago. I want to say
Yep.
like the average. Oh God, I'm gonna probably end up looking it up. I
Yeah.
think the average like white person in Massachusetts has a wealth, and when I say wealth, I think it's like accumulated everything, right? Property values,
Sure,
blah blah
sure,
blah,
sure.
whatever. But
Yeah.
this was several years ago. I want to say it was like 250,000 or something ish.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
average wealth of a black person in Massachusetts, American born black person, by the way,
Yeah. Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like,
Gotcha.
was
Yeah. Makes sense.
$8.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
8,000, not 80,000, eight.
Sounds about
Like,
right.
it's ridiculous. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's absurd. And so I think when we talk about, I didn't own slaves, da da da, whatever, what, like, there's the knock-on effect of like that privilege through the course of time, redlining
All
all
the
the
things.
things has put people in a position. And I remember there was a woman who recorded a video. I think it was during COVID. It was during, I don't know why I said it. I think it was during COVID. This
Mm-hmm.
black woman. I do not remember her name, and I don't remember what the situation was or the circumstances, but she was, having its kind of recording herself, kind of going off on something, rightly so, and
Yep.
basically said, you should be glad that we're just looking for reparations and not revenge.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Right. Like, right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
all, yes. My
Yeah.
body just went, yup. Because there's like 1,000 other things.
There's a
That's
million
the bare
things. Yeah.
minimum.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Okay, two things I want to get to.
Yep.
One is, and what we were just talking before we came on live, and I was like, yeah, nobody asked straight people about the origin of like how did they
Right.
know they were straight?
Yeah.
Um which is so true.
Yeah.
And I don't even for myself, like I'm kind of going through this own like I know I'm not straight, but I don't know what the I think I said this to you before. I don't know what the
Right.
fuck I am. I know there's a definition. I couldn't tell you.
You
I
just
just know I
love
love
everybody.
people.
You
I
just
I
love,
do. I love
you just,
everybody.
right.
Like, and to me, like romantic is just an extension of that. It's just
Yeah.
but that can come with anybody. I don't really
Right.
have
Yeah. Yeah.
a definition of
I
that.
think the definition of that is pansexual. I'm like,
Okay,
and
yeah.
I should know, right? But I'm like, I'm fairly certain that that's where that would
That
fall.
with false.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
you could just like, you could be in love with like romantic love with anybody. And that's,
Right. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
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 Totally. My friend says she's like, I think you're just bi curious. I'm like,
Mm,
I mean, maybe. I don't
yeah.
know. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's another podcast.
That's a whole other conversation.
But I think it's important just for people to, especially folks that are struggling with this, because
Yeah.
I know, and also lately, there's just not lately, but like the death and just harm of queer community is
Hmm.
just, I don't know. I saw some story recently where a kid of someone was bullied, a trans in school for
Yeah.
so long, and then the mother suing because the school did nothing. I just,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
So if there's anything that you want to lend to your journey, to your experience, to how that relates to, I don't know, being an immigrant or being white, or just how you navigate that
Yeah.
in your world, yeah,
I
leave it
think,
open.
yeah. I think like, I mean, the sort of origins of like when did I know I mean, I always knew I was different. Um, my grandmother used to call me the odd little one. I
Mm.
don't know, whatever.
I think it's kind of
Um,
sweet.
I
No?
don't, I didn't think so, but anyway,
You're
that's
like,
okay.
no, it's gross.
No.
Okay.
Well, no, because of, I think how like culturally that would be
I see
there.
what the
It's not.
connotation and
Yeah,
connection
right, right,
to
right.
it was.
Yeah.
I understand.
And I had a very unfortunate nickname when I was a kid, which I'm not going to share.
Okay.
But it was sort of related to my name and and being gay or whatever. So before I knew anything, I don't know, apparently some people had some inkling, but anyway,
Mm.
I didn't have my first kind of gay experience. Like my first kiss of like a woman was actually when I was 21, 22. I was in Australia.
Mm.
And it was a very funny story, which I'm not going to share here. But what's it like? I hadn't come out to anybody. I think I came out to a friend. I think the first person I really like truly came out to was a friend over in Australia who was very sweet. And then I came out to other people like, over time. I never
Mhm.
came out to my father, which I always regret because he died young.
Oh,
And I think he knew. I know he knew, but we never
yeah.
actually had the conversation.
You do. I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't come out to my mother until like 20 years ago. So I was like 30 something, and when I came out to her, and she was like very sweet, and she's
Mm.
had said she didn't know. I'm like, how could you not know? Like I've always looked like this. Like this is, I'm not
I
like,
know you're like, hmm.
this is not new. Like really? But anyway, but she had said to me after and subsequently that she said, when you told me, I actually loved you more because I knew that your life must have been hard. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh
precious,
my God, like, so yeah, exactly.
precious.
Like unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't have, I know not everybody has that experience, certainly. Right.
True.
And I think like to your point right now, especially like, trans community is just being assaulted on all sides
I
from,
mean, the violence is, and it's
it's,
given
yeah,
permission from
100%.
everyone.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
here, harm. Like, oh my God,
I know.
my
I know.
heart.
It's just awful. And so,
It's
and
awful.
there's sort of a lot of anti-LGBTQ plus IA plus legislation just happening. And it's been happening for a long
Yes.
time, but it's like more so now,
But now, yeah, it's
you know.
allowed. It's
So,
like open the
yeah,
door, open the
right.
door.
And so I think that there was a time certainly where, when I grew up in Ireland, it was actually a criminal offense to be gay, which was interesting. And there was no place that I knew of. I was in Dublin,
Yep.
and there was like a gay bar in Dublin, but it was very much for the boys.
Ah,
And it
interesting.
was very, I mean, I'm sure for them it was like, they're sneaking in the back door kind of thing. Like it wasn't like everybody kind of knew it was there, but like certainly it wasn't okay. Like it was very much it was a very underground kind of thing. But I don't know that there was a
Mhm.
place for women at all. And
Mm.
so I didn't have any outlet really of like any place of community.
Yeah.
And so I think it's obviously super important to have that now.
Yep. Yep.
And,
Yep.
and there's less and less, certainly there's less and less lesbian bars because we go to bed so early. But we're creature,
You're like, and
creature
then we're
comfort. So
older,
then we're
and
older. We're in bed by 9. It's
so
okay.
true.
Oh, hilarious. But one of the things I want to say about coming out is that it's not a one and done. Like,
Right.
unless you have a huge platform, like unless you're, I'll say Ellen, because like basically did it on on her TV show and then on Oprah, right?
Sure,
Like,
sure.
but unless you have that platform, like you're coming out all the time. And so like
All the
every time you go away and you check into a hotel, if you
time.
have like, you know what I mean? You're coming out. Every time you walk down the street holding hands, although I think now younger people just do that anyway, but whatever. I don't know. Maybe they don't. It seems like they do. But I mean, but there's still, my point is like, it's not this like big announcement and then everybody knows. It's like,
Right.
it's like there's a little risk or danger in like every day, depending on where you are and how
Right.
how you're feeling. But
Sure.
like I know my wife has felt, especially in this current climate. She's a little older than me and she's been through a lot of different things in her life, but she definitely feels in this current climate like more like she has to kind of go back in the closet a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm sure that she's not alone in that. I know that she's not, you know which is
Yeah.
really like shitty. So I'm not trying to be like paint a doom and gloom picture, because the community is
No, it's
amazing and
real.
it's like
It's
it's real,
real.
it's our lives, and it's just who
Real.
we are. It's like it's not a thing. It shouldn't be a big deal. It's just who we are and how we were born, and we were born as same way as anybody is born straight. Like you said, nobody asks, when did you know you were straight? It's just
Right?
we're just who we are, so
Yes.
so it shouldn't be up for legislation, it shouldn't be up for debate, but unfortunately it is. But I think the joy and peace of living as yourself, as your authentic self, is so
Mhm.
much more. It's so giving, like it gives so much more than all the noise takes away, in my view. But
Yeah. 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 Thank you for
yeah,
sharing all that.
of course.
And I just know, like, like, even for me, because I was like, something came up, you said, around privilege too. And like, I know, like, definitely people of color of like, oh, they struggle with like folks that are white, that are queer, and they can hide that if they choose, right? Like, and
Yeah, it's
that's a
not the same, it's
privilege, and
not equivalent. Yeah,
yeah, and it's all, but
right.
they're similar, and there's harm when you choose to then live out loud. It's
Right.
similar in the way of like, where you're in harm's way no matter what, like,
Hmm.
person of color. But I also have privilege in that, and I always just try to say this out loud because I'm not dark skinned. I'm dark, I'm biracial. So there's
Hmm.
like a whole mix there. There's, but my daughter's dark. So like when we're walking around there, I can see
Mm.
where I don't get, like, if we're in the mall, if we're in a grocery store, I can see people's,
Yeah,
reaction,
it's horrible.
or
Yeah.
yes, or questioning. Like in Target, she got questioned about, did she steal something from a backpack? It's so fucking stupid.
For God's sake.
And no one else, right? Like there's 10,
Right.
it's going back to school day, and there's a line of white people, and
Hmm.
they're like,
And she's the
excuse me,
one that
man,
gets
I need to
questioned.
look at
Yeah.
her backpack. Oh, the fuck you are. Anyway.
Right. Yeah, really.
Right. So then, I
Ugh.
mean, those experiences
Hmm.
where that when I'm by myself doesn't necessarily happen. So there is
Mm.
like privilege in, me having lighter skin, and
Yeah.
anyway, just acknowledge that it's just, privilege is also fluid in different
Yeah.
capacities.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and there's oppression and privilege in so many different ways. And yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't, I agree with you. I think like most, a lot of LGBTQIA plus people can hide, mask, cover if they want to. Whereas obviously if you're black or brown, you're black and brown.
Right. 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 Right.
You can't hide that. Um, but I hate the oppression Olympics, kind of like, oh,
Right. Right.
right.
That's a
But
good,
yeah,
yes, point.
but at the same time, like some people do have it worse than others. Like there's no,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't
And
think,
it's just Yeah,
Right.
just speaking it out loud. This is the
Speaking
only
it out
one
loud,
made
and
me
one is not to try to negate the other's experience.
1,000%.
It's
Right,
just
right.
like, here, like, this is my experience, this is your experience,
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
You know what I mean? Yep.
And to acknowledge that the world is harmful
To so many people. Yes, in so many
to
ways.
everyone
Yeah.
but straight white men, right?
So, yep. Cisgendered straight white men. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, let's pivot to Nolan
Oh
Wells
God.
and the
Yeah.
and I just wanted us to have this conversation because it's a hot button topic,
Yep.
and this just, I'd like to bring somehow the current events of how sort of race and dynamics and
Yeah.
embodiment are
Mhm.
presenting themselves in real time, but also because of the dynamics of this being so black and white, like in the literal sense.
Literally and figuratively. Yes.
Yes. And then for you and me to have the conversation, I think is just so impactful for other
Yeah.
people. Also, just to see, how do you have a conversation about race
Right.
when you're
Without,
like,
like, yeah,
you guys,
we can do
everyone,
it.
you can do
We
this.
can do hard things.
You can eat, you can even have difference of opinion, and
Right. And I
it's
think, like,
also
even
fine.
you said it was a hot button issue, but, like, you know what? I bet it's not for a lot of people. I bet a lot of
Sure.
people are
Oh,
like,
right. It
who,
is.
like, we don't even
Yes.
know who that
Okay.
is. Right.
Right.
Which is horrifying. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Although I wonder if that's true, because there is so much white, what's the word? Protection
That is
in
true
in
too.
in
Yes.
in the judicial system. So it went pretty high up, I would imagine, from the second whatever he
Well, I
was
think,
murdered.
yes, I think that there is a protection is a word. I'm not trying to think of another word, but there's like a coming together of one community to be like, no, 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 this is okay. This is just, just boys were having a good time, and we don't know what happened, but don't call it murder. Like, there's that, right? And
Mhm,
then there's
mhm.
like the black community going, hang on a second.
Right.
This fucking stinks. Like, there's something really wrong here.
Very
Um,
wrong.
and what's fascinating to me is, you mentioned to me the other day, like, can we talk about this? I'm like, absolutely. And I've been, I follow a lot of different sort of, black voices on social media and so forth. So I've seen, parts of that conversation. But I hadn't seen anything for, sometimes I do, and this is definitely a privilege, try to limit my exposure to certain things at certain points in
Oh
time.
yeah, me too.
It gets overwhelming. And so I hadn't seen anything for a little while. So I just Googled, I just went on, I didn't Google, actually went on DuckDuckGo, and I'm like, oh, Nolan Wells latest, whatever. And all of the mainstream media was like, the autopsy is done, but they haven't released the results. It's being investigated as an accidental death. And there was an independent autopsy, but it was inconclusive. And that was it. That was the coverage, right? But on the other side of the conversation, on from the black influencers and creators and people that I'm following, it was a very different conversation. And so I dug a little deeper in there. And so they talked about the autopsy was the family requested an independent autopsy. They've hired attorney Ben Crump. Thank you very much. Awesome guy.
Yep.
And they found that it was inconclusive, but they also didn't get everything that they needed to actually draw conclusions. Like, they didn't get the hyoid, which is the bone in your neck that if you're strangled will show because it will be broken. They didn't get that. They didn't get some of the soft tissues. They didn't get the contents, stomach content. Like, they didn't get what they needed to conduct a full independent autopsy. And so whatever you might be reading in USA Today or on ABC or CBS or NBC or whatever, it's incomplete. That's what I would say. At the very least, at best, it's incomplete.
I love that, and I love that it's coming from you, because when I post stuff or when I say stuff,
yeah,
white people revolt and just are like, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not true. Blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
Like they attack me. But when it comes from you,
yeah,
it's for some reason, then people might be like, huh? Right?
they might, yeah.
Versus had I said that. Like, it's just, so that's why I wanted, like, you to just say that, because I think it's so important, because and also just to say out loud, like what you said to me the other day about like you just don't black people don't hang themselves from trees, like,
Right, with their hands
and
tied behind their back.
with
Thank you
their
very
hands
much.
tied behind
Even
the right.
without their hands tied behind their back, but again, like, and there was a woman, just another woman, I think, just found hanged.
Yep.
Saw somebody was talking about it yesterday.
Yep.
Yep.
It doesn't happen, and the only black kid on a boat,
Right.
doesn't just
Right. And so I think if you're getting your news from mainstream media, and I really am not one of these people to shit all over mainstream media. I'm not. But in some circumstances, you have to look deeper. Like you have to
right,
look
right.
for more information. And I think that in this case, there's a lot of information out there. It might be anecdotal at this point. I don't know, right? But a proper investigation has to be done. The circling the wagons is is probably the right terminology. And yes, it's from like, pioneer days, but that's very relevant, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
People are circling the wagons.
Yep.
They are protecting themselves, they're protecting their kids. People have gone after his mother.
Yep.
I mean, I think I read that people were so she's a nurse, or
Nurse. Yeah, yeah.
I think
Mm-hmm.
she's
Yeah,
a
she's a nurse.
so people were going to her, like, I don't know, how like medical professionals have a page on the, like, whatever hospital or wherever
Yeah.
they're practice at.
Yeah.
They were going on her page and leaving bad reviews. His mother,
Yes.
the mother of a child who is dead, whatever
Yep.
happened, whether he was murdered, which I believe he was, but even
Yes.
if it was accidental, they fucking left him on his own on an
The whole
island,
thing. The whole thing.
allegedly, although apparently he was in the boat, came back, and they sent him. Whatever. We don't know, right? I'm just saying this is like
Right.
sort of the
Right. Right.
anecdotal,
Right.
but a proper
Right.
investigation has to be done, right? But for human fucking beings to
Mm-hmm.
go out of their way to go onto a website of the page of the mother who has lost her child to
Yep.
leave shitty reviews of her, because why? Like, what fucking mind does that? Like, how shitty of a human being do you
Mm-hmm.
have to be to do that? I don't care what the circumstances are, to be honest with you. She
Right.
is a mother who
Sure.
just lost her child through
Right.
no fault of his own.
Nothing that she. Right.
Nothing,
Absolutely.
and no
Right.
fault of hers, other
Yeah.
than, trusting his white friends, honestly.
Right. Right.
Like, and then
Right.
you wonder why people can't fucking, I don't know, like, people wonder why why can't we all get along? Because you fucking horrible human beings went on the website and gave shitty reviews. So like literally, like, black creators that I follow were saying, please go to this link and leave a positive review because she's getting shit all over by these people. It's just awful.
It is. It is.
Who does that?
White people with privilege do that.
Honestly, I know. And then of course there'll be the cadre of not all white people. I don't. It's
My God, I know.
no,
I
but
get
it's
that
not
the
all
time.
white people, and it's not all men. But you know what? It's always a white person, and it's always a man. And so, in that case,
Like,
I'm
really?
being very exaggerated. But like,
Yeah, no, I know. I know. Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, they're going in there. Someone filed a complaint too. Like, it's crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy, and it's again, it's just the extension. It's a great example of the extension of privilege and harm, and the
hmm
lengths that which white people will go to protect their own, right?
right.
To protect, and they're not even protecting humans, right? Because
No,
a lot of that you can't. The empathy is gone. What they're protecting is power.
right. They're
And
protecting the
they're
system of power.
protecting exactly,
Yeah,
and
and they don't
in
even know
order
that
to
that's what they're doing. They're
right.
in many cases, right? The individuals
In
are
many
just reacting
cases.
to like
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
Right. And some of it's instinctful and some of it's, subconscious just because racism is infused in white bodies unless you unlearn it. I mean, it's
right.
infused in people of color too. A lot of, there's dynamics that show up
Sure. Well, you
within
talked about your
communities.
daughter. Like, colorism
Sure.
is a real
Right.
thing.
It's
Like,
a
it's,
whole thing. Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, and just for folks to keep asking the questions, keep protesting, keep getting loud. We've been here before.
yep.
We've gotten answers before, sometimes years and years and years later.
Yeah.
But just, white people can't be silent on this because people
Right.
of color are grieving. Like there is,
Hmm.
when it first came out, I had a moment of a full-on
Yeah.
meltdown, breakdown, and scared again for my kid because how many times has my kid been at a sleepover with a lot of white
Yeah.
privileged girls, and
Right.
she's come back saying some stuff, and I'm like, fucking, and my kid's not. She's
Yeah.
very she's amazing, but she's also naive in that
Hmm.
I was street smart. It's like I was,
Yeah.
I'll get you. I know what you're saying up and down before you even, because I
Right.
had
Right.
to,
Right.
because
Yeah.
I had trauma in my life.
Yeah.
So but she doesn't in that way. And
Hmm.
it's the poor thing is she just has no idea.
Yeah.
She does now that she's getting older, but when, but my fear of when she was sleeping over other people's houses
Hmm.
was, I know this sounds crazy, but is she going to wake up in the morning?
Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when I go to pick her up, is she going to be okay?
Yeah.
Whether that's a small harm, a big harm, or like we
Right.
don't know where she is.
Yeah. Right. But it's like the talk that black mothers have to have with their, at least with their
Mm,
sons and
right,
and
sure.
everybody, right? But like if you're, stopped by the police, do da 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 da, like all of
Right,
that. Like
right, right.
that's not something that white parents have to think about or do.
Right, exactly.
And
Yeah.
I think that there has to be a fucking, can we have some empathy, please?
Right,
Like, can we
right.
just try to understand the perspective and the lived experience of people? And, God, please don't knock on the door of your black neighbor and say, "Can you tell me about all your fucking trauma?" Like, there is so much
Right.
information on the friggin' internet. Like, don't
Right.
go to your black friends and your black neighbors to educate you and your black coworkers.
Oh my
Like,
God, right,
all of
right,
the information, it's all out there. Just
right,
go and
right.
ask your favorite, search engine the questions. Like,
Yeah,
there's
your
so
white
much
friends. Have the
information there.
conversation with your white friends and
And
go do fucking
absolutely,
something about it.
right? I know.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Well, we're gonna start to wrap up, but I want to ask us one last question
Yep.
that I think I texted to you because I was sitting here before we met, kind of, I'm a weird energy meditation person. I always say like, bring forth whatever it
Hmm.
is that we need to ask each other. And this
Yep.
came through. And it was when stories continued to be told without the whole truth. How do we become people and communities that are willing to hear the whole story?
I think for me, part of what I learned, especially in sort of starting to do DEI work, is I have to be willing to be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, in order to hear the whole story, I have got to put my defenses down, and I have to be willing to hear the other person's perspective and believe the other person's perspective. I think we see this play out in the workplace all the time, right? Where
Yeah,
people
yeah, oh
go
yeah.
to, like, I go to HR because somebody was, homophobic to me, or you go to HR because somebody was racist to you, or whatever. And the other person just gets believed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
people like, oh, they didn't mean it. They didn't, and like this, the benefit of the doubt is not given evenly, intent over impact. Impact is what matters.
Mm-hmm.
Intent is irrelevant in many ways. But I think we have to be willing, like, this is what I was like saying about empathy. Like, where is the empathy? Like, we have to be willing to listen to other people and believe their perspectives. Because even if we don't think that what they're saying is true, it is their reality.
Sure. Right, yeah, right. 1,000%.
I mean, people can tell me up and down that, that we're less, homophobic than we used to be, but my reality might be very different.
I'm like,
And it doesn't,
oh.
no, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
saying,
yeah.
like,
I
as an
know what you mean. I
example,
know what you mean. Yeah,
So what
yeah.
about you? Like, how would you answer that question?
So I was thinking about this, and the story came to me because everyone's like, why do you do embodiment work? And so if I were to answer this question, it would be, this is why. And the story that always comes to me was when George Floyd was murdered, and we had a big protest. I was living on the Cape at the time in Orleans, Mass, and there was tons of people. And the folks were asking us to kneel for the amount of time that he was knelt on, right?
Mm,
So that we could experience that. I was like, oh God, here we go. Well, like, we're going to experience this in our bodies.
yeah.
And there was a 75-year-old man in front of me, and he was trying to kneel and just having a hard time. He was on his knee. He just was struggling with his body, like he couldn't, but he wanted
Yeah.
to do it so bad. Like he wanted to, you could just see, he was just like, I want to do this with everyone. And he just starts bawling and he just starts, and he's just crying. And you can see that he's crying, not just for him. He's crying for the moment of
Mm-hmm.
this. And I just go over and I just put my hand on his back. And then he just turns around and looks at me. And, he's just crying. And you can just see he's a little surprised that, like, I'm a person of color and I'm touching him.
Mm.
And that makes him cry even more.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is why I do embodiment work.
Yeah.
Because that action of him actually having to physically get down allowed him to understand in his white body what he must have been going through, what his mother must have been going through. And then here I am, the representation of that with
Mm.
my physical hand on his body.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, and some of the work does, because everyone asks me, like, why don't you just do stuff with people of color if that's, where we need to be, and that's where the undoing of the harm has to happen. And I do that. Like, I make space for that as my priority. However,
Mm-hmm.
I do think the real healing is in the integration of the bodies, when we can get into a place
Right.
where, like, he's crying because, and then he's looking at me and I'm looking at him right in the eyes and I don't even say anything.
Yeah.
Like, and then
Right.
the both of us are just crying.
Yeah. Just the act of you being, you were there for him
Yeah.
in this moment where he was trying to be there for you and your community in some ways, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was just
And-
like this beautiful unspoken
Yeah.
moment, but
I love
like
that.
with touch and body and
Right.
emotion.
Right.
And I was like, this is why I do embodiment work.
Yeah. And I would just say, like, there were two things, and I know you want to wrap up, but two
Yeah,
quick things.
sure.
Like, I think one is that, I would challenge, like, white people specifically to, if you're doing, yoga or embodiment work, or your doctor, your dentist, whatever, seek out somebody who's not white. Like,
Yes.
widen your
Yes.
circle. And I don't mean, like, again, knock on your neighbor's door and say, can we be friends? But, like, seek out people, like practitioners in things that you might be interested in doing anyway. Painting, theater, whatever it might be, singing, whatever it is, right? Like, seek out somebody who's not white to teach you.
Right.
And I think, like, there's power in that, right? And then the other quick thing that reminded me when you were talking about that story was after 9/11, I remember Rosie O'Donnell, I think she still had her show. I think she had her show at the time. She talked about, she went in, I thought it was a gas station. She was in a store, convenience store, gas station, whatever it was. And it was right after 9/11. And the person who was serving her was Muslim. And they were, like, trying to put her change on the counter. And she, like, held her hand out and she wouldn't let them not touch her. Like, she wanted to have physical contact with this person to say, like, it's okay. This person wouldn't look her in the eye. Like, they were just, because of obviously all the anti-Muslim hate that happened, like, right after that, and it continues to happen.
Right. Yeah.
But, like, she literally wouldn't stop. She wouldn't discontinue the interaction until they had a moment of touch and physical, like a physical touch and a recognition, which I thought was so powerful. Can we just do more of that? Like, just, we need more, like, what you're talking about, all of those things, but, like, just widen your circle, widen your mind, widen your horizons, like, listen to the people who are having the experiences, because they're not just making shit up, We're like, nobody's out there pretending, like, making this. I mean, there are occasionally people who do, like, wild and crazy makeup things for whatever reason. But like 99.999% of the time, it's real. I mean, people are sharing their experiences.
Like,
we're experiencing it. Exactly.
Yeah.
And if people are brave enough to share that in whatever the sphere is, you better be open enough to hear it.
Right. Beautiful point, right? The vulnerability it takes for us to be able to share hard stuff that's harming us. Like, the least you can do is just listen.
Right.
Yeah. I love it. Well, thank you for
Of course.
this with me.
Thank you for
so fun.
I know I was, like, nervous about live, but I'm like, whatever. It's just a conversation. It's all the same.
Yeah. And is there anything else you want to say before we end the live?
No, I think I've said enough. No, I think we're good. we could talk for hours, right? But
We could
we
talk
won't.
for hours. Is
Yeah.
there, like, if people want to work with you, how do they find you?
Upliftinclusion.com is my website.
Okay.
They can find me there.
Upliftinclusion.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Amazing.
Okay, cool. We will encourage people to go to upliftinclusion.com.
Thank you.
All
love it.
right. Thanks
Awesome.
everyone for joining.